Have you ever wondered what it actually felt like to live in the trenches, in constant fear of being blown apart by heavy artillery? Probably not. That's why you clicked on this video. But don't worry, I'll walk you through it. Rank 1. Private. Imagine opening your eyes an hour before dawn. Not because you chose to, but because someone shakes you awake in the dark and orders you up. You're a 17-year-old private. 3 months ago, you were living in your parents' house, but now your only reality is that strip of muddy ground barely a yard wide. You stand on the fire step, eyes still heavy with sleep, staring into the darkness ahead, waiting to find out if today is the day the enemy decides to attack. This ritual has a name: Stand To. You do it every single dawn, knowing that odds are nothing will happen, but you can't afford to bet your life on it. Then dawn breaks, and with it comes what your fellow soldiers jokingly call the morning hate. A few bursts of rifle fire, almost out of habit, just to let the enemy know you're still there. And then, for the rest of the day, almost nothing happens. You repair sandbags. You clean your rifle for the 100th time. You stand for hours staring through a firing slit, waiting for movement that almost never comes. But what if, instead of a private, you were the sergeant in charge of those same men? Rank 2. Sergeant. Now your whole day changes. You're no longer just someone who follows orders. You're the one who decides who stands sentry and for how long, who rests and who works. Every hour, with almost obsessive precision, you have to report to your officer on what's happening along your stretch of trench, one report after another. You're the one who has to enforce discipline. You're squeezed between two worlds that rarely speak to each other. On one side, you're men, who see you as one of their own. On the other, the officers above you, who treat you as the gear that passes orders down the line. None of your soldiers can leave the trench without your permission. But you, in turn, can't decide anything that really matters without permission from whoever's above you. And what if you wore the insignia of a young officer instead? Rank 3. Officer. You live in the same trench, exposed to the same shelling as everyone else. That doesn't change. But something subtly is different from day one. Your shelter is a little less crowded, maybe with a soldier assigned to look after your things, with an actual cot instead of bare ground. At your side, you carry not a rifle like your men, but a pistol, a small detail that says a lot about what's expected of you. You're not there to shoot first. When the order comes for an assault, you're the one who has to blow the whistle that sends your men out of the trench into no man's land, knowing full well how many of them won't come back. You spend your days inspecting positions and writing reports on ammunition and supplies. You're closer to your soldiers than the hierarchy might suggest. You eat near them, you suffer the same cold, you risk dying just the same. Now, what if you were a general? Rank 4. General. You never set foot in that trench. You never smell the mud, and you never feel the cold seeping into your boots. Your headquarters is a requisition chateau or villa, dozens of miles from the front. A place where in the evening you eat sitting at a set table, while just a few dozen miles away, your men are splitting a cold tin of meat. News from the front reaches you filtered through written reports, never through your own eyes. You decide the fate of thousands of men by studying lines drawn on paper spread across a dining table, calculating how many losses you're willing to accept to gain a few hundred yards of contested ground. While out there, at that very moment, a 20-year-old is risking his life. You sign orders that will send thousands of men to an assault, knowing from experience how many won't return. And yet that number remains, for you, a statistic on a page, not a face you saw that very morning.